swing. Kind of made me thinking about that. We have a team that works every month, and we all have a chance to go through our project list that we are working on, but then my boss has an agenda. And he always puts that at the bottom, but he always starts the last thing on the agenda. I asked him, that's what we're going to talk about first. What's your agenda? Just defeating the whole rule of process. Usually I try to do it. If I don't do it like in the day or two, then I forget. There aren't any more back there. You know, they might put them here. Printed agendas, they're out, yeah.
Well, I would like you to show somebody.
On the website. It's downloaded.
I just want to know.
Why didn't you pick one up on the way in?
There wasn't one.
Agenda? They were gone already?
What else?
Here, I know what it is.
You know what it is.
Here you go. Your wishes might come in.
Now the guy who wants to be hammered,
We got one.
Yeah, he gave, yeah.
I'm a probationary.
Yeah.
I've got more than that. I got more sections. That's okay. Yeah, I got it. It might be. Oh, but like there, yeah, there, yeah. I think part of it's money. That was a lot. You start to think part of that's a spring. Their yard.
Oh, you gotta do it this way. Remember the time I That's right.
The same chair I got. I know how to do it.
I don't know.
that was the same chair.
Yes, guys, it isn't special.
Do you have the red one?
Yeah, just like mine, the whole one.
He's got the whole week.
He's got the lid.
Okay, I'd like to call this meeting to order, the regular meeting of the township board meeting on Wednesday, November 6th, 2019 at 6 o'clock. We'll do a roll call. Aldrich?
Here.
Bigford?
Here.
Helmrich?
Here.
Marcy?
Here.
Osmond? Here. We have a full board. So we all stand up and say the pledge of allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We're now at the public comment part of our meeting, and I'd like to invite everybody who is interested to step up to the microphone, state your name and your address, and remember that you are limited to 3 minutes if you're talking as an individual, or 5 minutes if you're speaking on behalf of a group. So we will start with the first row.
I'm Bill Hess, City of Saugatuck, and I'm going to talk about the Blue Star Trail Joint Resolution. I'm not here tonight to ask you to approve, table, or deny the resolution. As you know, the decision to develop the resolution is a result of the stakeholders meeting held with representatives of all the government entities impacted by the trail and the Friends of the Blue Star Trail. This joint resolution before you tonight is a collective, collaborative product of the Douglas City Manager, the Saugatuck City Manager, and the Saugatuck Township Manager. It is a first step in a collaborative effort in order to achieve a common goal. You may decide tonight to approve the joint resolution or determine there's a better method to ensure that we can keep the project going towards final completion. Either way, only through the continued collaboration by our three communities on this project will we be able to make the Blue Star Trail a reality for our residents and visitors alike.
Thank you. Next, first row.
Harry Johnson, City of Saugatuck, on Main Street. Like Phil said, this is, I think, the first attempt that was a collaborative effort for our three communities. And if I just kind of distilled down what we felt was the salient points of the proposed resolution was that the trail be fully funded for engineering and construction and an endowment to help pay for it over the time. To have required funds, and it does not resist the number of traffic lanes, which I'll address in a minute, and that nothing can be set up for a grant without the written agreement of the three communities. So that's still a collaborative effort. The Friends have responded to the endowment, so I think we all know now that within 2 years, when the trail is completed, that we are going to be left holding the bag, and we will have to maintain the trail. Our communities want the trail, so we're not going to get any help from the Friends on that. So that's something we're going to do. My biggest concern is the bridge. And on July 30th, we had an incident where there was a priority 1911 call. That had to get a sheriff to the beach, a missing kid on the beach, and they got to the south side of the bridge, and they were gridlocked and could not proceed. Both lanes had traffic in them every summer weekend, and the bike path, which was then the only route, it was difficult for the sheriff to get over the curbs, but once he got there, he encountered pedestrians and bikers. So having vehicles go into the bike lane is not a solution either. And to follow the grant process, if it's gotta be a 14-foot, path over the bridge, maybe we just gotta say, we can't do that and keep the safety. This is the lifeline to the southern part of the, township, and also to our residents on the other side of the Kalamazoo River. So we have to preserve emergency vehicle going over the bridge. If we can't do that within the confines of the grants, we'll find a way to do it ourselves. And then work collaboratively with everybody else to get the trail and continue going north and south.
Thank you. Anyone in the second row?
My name is Jim Searing. I live in Saugatuck Township, and I'm the chairman of the Township Park Commission. I was going to comment. I have my letter in the packet, and I wanted to remind you I hadn't changed my mind. I would like to make one comment about the bridge. A few weeks ago, I was on I-4 near Orlando. 4 lanes traffic stopped dead. In my rearview mirror, I saw an emergency vehicle weaving its way through the traffic. He passed me and continued out of sight for about another mile before he got through. People pulled to the side. They moved. Lived here a number of years, and it is possible that there can be a small jam up on the bridge. But I just cannot, in my right mind, believe that the emergency vehicles, with cooperation from other folks, will not be able to navigate that bridge. The 4th of July, when the fireworks end, when the Venetian Festival ends, the bridge is clogged up. But people are cooperative, they get out of the way, they'll work with the emergency vehicles. That can't be the issue that stops this project, the bridge. I feel like the Blue Star Trail folks have worked hard. They've been cooperative, they've bent over backwards to get this thing done, and we have 1.7 miles of trail that's been completed, has been there for 12 years. It's a big benefit for the community. We've maintained it. We don't have an endowment. We have a relatively small park budget, and it has not bankrupted the community. So I believe that with the Blue Star Trail folks and what we've been through, we can get this trail done. And please do not approve this resolution as it's written.
Thank you. Anybody else in the second row?
Dana Bergard, Township President, Parks Commissioner. I just wanted to provide a little history and perspective on this Blue Star Trail discussion. The township has maintained a park system since the 60s, when River Bluff Park was acquired. And it's been improved several times with grants in 1971, 1985, and 2003. All those grants required matching funds from the township that the township willingly provided at that time. And the township's maintained the park for decades. The dog park was started by volunteers in 2004, and the township's maintained that since with their own funds. 2007, the township, under their own initiative, got a CMAQ grant to build a section of trail that goes along by the dune rides. People use it every day in the summer. It's used year-round. Tremendous benefits from the trail. And then recently came into the discussion a partnership with the Friends of the Blue Star Trail. So I view them as a recent partner in the township's decades-long effort to provide a system of both a trail system and a park system that we've owned and maintained ourselves for decades, because we see the benefits from it. And so I would ask that you do not approve this resolution as written. My personal opinion of it is it's 1 step forward and 2 steps back, and as they say, you don't get very far like that. So I'm all for cooperation and finding a better way. As Bill mentioned, I don't know that the resolution is written is that way right now. So, thanks.
Thank you. Anybody else in the second row?
I'm Susan Cynthia McKean. I live at 1,000 Mason Street in Saugatuck. I am here to ask that you not support the resolution in support of the Blue Star Highway Trail that was unanimously approved by the Saugatuck City Council October 14th. There's nothing in this document that actually supports completion of the trail. Quite to the contrary, it is as though the City Council was trying to get rid of the situation by putting it in a box, closing the lid, and throwing away the key. The requirements are ridiculous. Such a gruelingly negative list of unjustifiable requirements I have never before seen. If this document is approved, it will be almost impossible to complete the project. There's good news. Both new Saugatuck City Council members, both new Saugatuck City Council members believe that completion of the Blue Star Trail is a top priority. They understand that there must be a bike trail across the bridge and into Saugatuck, and yes, it is the responsibility of local municipalities to be actively involved in the solution by designing and creating a beautiful and safe passage through the most dangerous and complex intersection of the entire project. The township is demonstrating commitment as its latest endeavor is to extend the sidewalk along Old Allegan to the Blue Star Trail. Friends of the Blue Star Trail have been tirelessly working toward the goal of completing the trail for years. They have learned many lessons in order to accomplish whatever the next step is involved. They've raised great sums of money as they are driven to apply what they have learned in order to fulfill their goals. And if they can be part of the team, remember, if they can be part of the team, they will keep going. In summary, I'm asking you not to support the unanimously approved resolution that you have on your agenda from Saugatuck. Instead, join together and use all of our energies, all of your energies, to create a fabulous, safe crossing of the Kalamazoo River that we will all be proud to own. The time is right.
Thank you. Anybody else in the second row? Third row? Fourth row?
Hello, Dan Keller. I'm at 2809 Lakeshore Drive in Saugatuck Township, actually. I'm representing the Lake Michigan Shore Association, which is a group of about 170 property owners south of the 1986 washout, primarily in Saugatuck Township and Gaines Township. The topic for today, we sent a letter to the board earlier this week. It may or may not have made it in your packet. But the key here is there's a real danger of another washout on Lakeshore Drive. There's been a significant issue has occurred with bluff erosion at 2379 Lakeshore Drive, which caused a drain failure. The drain failure then created a sinkhole on the east side of Lakeshore Drive, significant enough that it swallowed an orange traffic barrel, so it's a fairly significant sinkhole. The erosion on the lake side is just a few feet from the roadway, so it's a real problem. If the road does fail at this point, there's 14 homes between that spot and the 1986 washout that will have no access to emergency vehicles or just ingress and egress for residents. But it's important to note, this is just one of multiple danger points along Lakeshore Drive, both north and south of the washout. This one is the one that's most severe today. Wanted to say a quick thank you. First, Allegan County, they provided response over a weekend. They closed the lane when it was discovered. They closed the lane of the road. They installed orange protective fencing so you don't fall over the edge. They filled the sinkhole. They attempted to fix the drain. That didn't work out so well. And then they took subsequent action that same week and came back and shifted the roadway to the east within the easement with temporarily milled asphalt to allow us to get around the issue for now. Also want to thank the township, Griffin in particular, for calling a meeting that included the LMSA, Allegan County, a variety of people from Allegan County, the fire department, Brenda from the township, Dana, city managers for both Saugatuck, Douglas, and a number of other interested parties. So thank you for doing that. Also, thank you to the fire department for quickly looking at the situation, going out there, walking through everybody's property, and figuring out at least an initial, probably not a great, but a contingency plan that they would follow if there is a problem. Our ask of the township, it's all in the letter, but the first one is to appoint one or two trustees to lead the efforts. We need a near-term viable option to get emergency access and for residents to get ingress and egress and the services for those residents, garbage, trash, all that kind of thing, if the road becomes impassable. Second, and almost as equally important, we need a long-term solution. Doing little Band-Aid solutions is nice in the short term. The last time this had a big problem was back in '86. There was a massive study, presented real solutions that would actually solve it both north and south, or at least help dramatically. The water went down, everything stopped, well, the water's back up. We would suggest that we've got a committee already in place that has essentially the right people on it, that was assigned to look at the emergency access and non-motorized vehicle access around the washout. That same committee, our suggestion would be expand their scope to take in the current situation and just make it a bigger scope. The committee, as we understand it, currently has trustees, homeowners, planning commission, the township manager, fire department, and township engineer all involved. So it seems like the right group of people. It's your decision, but it's just a suggestion that might work. And the second request, which came up at the meeting last Thursday, was to direct Griffin to call a property owner meeting, at least of the impacted owners and potentially more in that area, review potential temporary access options so we can all understand what they are and all have a voice in it. Importantly, initiate discussion of longer-term options. Dana has done some work previously, starting in 2017, that was kind of a beginning. There's probably part of that work that's still very valuable today. That has not all been shared with all the impacted owners. Some of us have had input, but certainly not everyone. And it's really important that the township call the meeting so the homeowners will actually attend, set up as a conference call. We have remote homeowners, et cetera, so everybody can be involved all at once. Asking us to do that on our own is not going to work out so well. And third, during that meeting, the county asked if we would communicate to our members, which we will do, asking our members to submit information and photographs of any issues they see along the bluff, all along the way, whether it's septic systems at risk of falling in the lake, homes at risk of falling in the lake, or other issues with public roadways or even private roadways. So we're going to do that for you. And beyond that, thank you, appreciate your help and support, and thank you for jumping on it last week. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in that row? I think it's the fourth. Anybody else? Next row?
Hi, everybody. My name is John Adams. I'm president of the Friends of Blue Star Trail. I live at 2222 Lakeshore Drive in Fenville. I'd like to comment on the resolution before you tonight. The Friends fully agree with the stated goals of this resolution. Those goals, as stated, were to confirm a consensus of three units of government regarding an approach to one project, one government as a lead, and an intergovernmental agreement as to the roles and responsibilities. And we commend the communities for working together. However, the resolution approved by Saugatuck City goes well beyond those stated purposes and imposes unacceptable and onerous conditions on the Friends. We had no input into this resolution. These terms were not discussed with us at all, despite the Friends being an important advocate and an important funding partner. The board of the Friends of the Blue Star Trail recently voted unanimously to withdraw our financial support for the north section of the trail if the current resolution becomes effective in its current form. This will only happen if Douglas and this board approves the resolution as stated. We respectfully request you table the resolution and work with the Friends to develop a more acceptable agreement. We ask you once again to lend your voice of support to the trail and encourage the city and Douglas to approve a route option acceptable to MDOT. The township has been a good partner on this trail. You've repeatedly supported the trail through your resolutions. Your staff has played an important role. And we thank you for that. The Friends have also been a good partner. Together we built the new section of trail near the firehouse. We helped to do this with only an $800 easement cost in total to the township, the Friends, and the grants provided the rest of the money for that. And we provided endless hours of volunteer efforts to the grant process, relieving your own staff from some of that responsibility. The township will be a prime beneficiary of this proposed new project. The largest segment of the proposed project is within the township. It will bring a valuable investment to the township with minimal upfront costs to local taxpayers. Grants and the Friends will pay for the construction costs. These grants are in high demand. We'd like to bring them to our community. It is true, the trail will not be free to the township. We are asking you to own and maintain the trail, as you have been your existing trail for a decade now. The township's paid on average $3,400 per year for 1.7 miles of existing trail. This includes an expenditure to reconstruct a section of the trail in 2017. Compare this figure with the benefits the trail brings, including safety, to the hundreds of thousands of dollars being invested and brought to this community, all without local taxpayer investment in the building of the trail. We believe this represents a great value to the township. It will connect existing trails to the north, just north of North Street, and to the south to the Saugatuck City border. That's going to create 4.5 miles of continuous trail connecting the tri-communities. It will achieve a key priority of this community, expanding non-motorized trails. The 2016 Tri-Community Survey demonstrated residents placed the highest priority on expanding non-motorized trails. 80% of participants in that...
John, you're over your time, if you could wrap up.
Okay. 80% supported it, and more recent surveys have supported the same. We have an amazing opportunity. We have a $200,000 pledge if we can achieve approval of this trail by the end of this year. We ask that this board don't approve the resolution, that you table it, that you consider forming a committee to review and design a better resolution. We certainly are willing to work with the other communities in doing that. In fact, we've made the same offer to them. And we encourage you to participate in the discussion of emergency vehicle flows across the bridge. This is your issue as well. Your residents live there. We think you should take an interest in that as well. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in that same row? I think it's the fifth row.
Dick Watson, 6576 Aaron Ridge Road, Saugatuck Township. I'm here in support of the Star Trail, and also just as has been already articulated tonight, that we don't need to repeat the reasons why the current resolution that's before you is not a solution. It's actually a hindrance to the trail moving forward. It's actually a little bit cynical in the sense that it was presented to you as something that this was what Allegan County had, and this was a blueprint that they used for this. It starts out that way, but as you start reading the conditions, they're basically the conditions that the Saugatuck City Council has been using to basically stonewall, delay any approval of the trail. I also find it a little strange that the city of Saugatuck says, yes, well, we want the trail, but yet they've done nothing as a council to have any committees formed, to work with, to give options of what designs and things could go forward in the last 2.5 years. So I find it a little disingenuous on their part to hear them say this, yes, we are in support of the trail. There are new members now on the city council. They've already voiced their hearty support for the trail going forward. So I suggest we start working again with them. I suggest that this resolution either be tabled or just be voted down as is, and that we move forward with connecting the trail, connecting it for all residents of the town and everybody who has supported it and wants to see it continue. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in that same row? Anybody else in the next row? Last row? Anybody else in the back? Oh, there you go.
Hi, my name is Fran Benshaw. I live at 2378 Lakeshore in Fenville, Ganges Township, and I would like to express my thanks for your progressiveness in making the trail that you have already done, and your park system people, and the the way that you approach this seems people-friendly and oriented to people. I've been interested in this trail since it began, not that I've done very much, but I've helped to get the word out because I like to walk and I like to ride my bicycle. And we travel quite a bit and I use my bicycle, and I know that this can be done here in the way that so many other communities have done this. Traverse City, Marquette, Michigan, Frankfurt area, and all of these communities definitely benefit, whether they have college kids that are moving around on the trail, or if it's a tourist community. But this committee that works on this it's a volunteer organization, just like in the Heritage Trail, which is goes to the National Lakeshore from Empire now, and they're going all the way to Leland. And they met with opposition, and I know it took time, but it's there, and it's just amazing to be on it and to see the people that are using it and enjoying it. And, you know, from young to old, from handicapped to very fit, and I'm glad you're on board with it. So I agree with John Adams, the current president, to say, please table this and think about looking it over. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else in the back there? Nobody? Last chance. Anybody want to say anything? All right, public comment period is ended. We have to have approval of the agenda. Is there anybody have any changes or concerns, questions? Anybody want to make a motion?
I'll move to approve the agenda for the November 6th meeting.
I'll support that. Okay. Very good. Let's move on then to account, we have to vote, sorry. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Okay, now we'll move on to our accounts payable and invoices. Has everybody had a chance to look at those?
Yes.
Yep. Is there anybody that would like to make a motion?
I move to approve all bills and payroll in the amount of $87,695.89 as presented.
Thank
I'll
you.
second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, payroll approved. Moving on to our treasurer report.
First of all, I'd like to thank everyone for being here. It's a nice crowd to see, and I want to ask your forbearance while we do some important housekeeping before we might get to some issues that you're maybe in attendance here for tonight. I do also want to extend congratulations, as I did earlier in the day, to those that have been elected to our neighboring city councils. I also want to thank Barry and Bill especially for being here tonight. It's nice to see representatives from the other governments at a meeting, and I hope we see more of that both ways moving forward, since collaboration has been a big issue for all of us. And I do have to acknowledge, this is not fiscal, but it was 1 year ago today that my colleagues and I were elected to this board, and it's been a hell of a year. It's been a great year, and I just want to acknowledge it.
Thank you.
Maybe next year it'll be a paid day off. Now, moving into more important things. Oh, you don't have it?
No, it was there.
Oh, sorry. There's a beautiful slide that usually gets projected. But, all right, I'll read you through this. It's one of my duties to report. Our general fund bank balance, this is the fund that operates the township. It's not anything to do with tax collection. It magically remains about the same every month. It's just holding steady at $2.4 million. And the important thing to note there, and I've said this before, is it states that that's healthy number despite the expenditures we make. So that's a good sign of our fiscal health. And I did want to point out that that includes in the last month, we've received $15,000 of $20,000 owed to us from the 4 medical marijuana facilities we've approved, and they owe, that's an annual fee they will owe us in an administrative fee. And on the investment side, we only have one. We have a CD, but it's doing quite well. It's at $751,000, and it rose $2,000 in October. It's probably gone up more than that in a week in November. I do want to point out, you might remember back in January or December, I discovered the township had not previously been considering the monthly tax disbursement payments that we make as part of our accounts payable, as we just did when we approved it. And I introduced that because that is state law to approve. Twice a month, I make disbursement payments to the schools, the library, anyone we pass our tax collection money through to. And when the summer tax season started, it went so fast, I haven't presented that to you. So today, that is in your packet, that chart. To date, we have dispersed $6.1 million to the schools, to the county, and I actually need a motion. I'd like to approve that expenditure that has been made.
Not right now.
Yeah.
I make a motion to approve the $6.1 million tax disbursement for Saugatuck Township.
Support that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries.
Thank you. And starting in December, I will go back to monthly reporting because, again, this is done twice a month. All right, let's see. On the budget actual expenditure front, well, there it is.
Yep, you found it.
You found it. All right. Aren't you lucky? All right, we're a month into our second quarter. We're 4 months into this fiscal year 2020, and right now, or through October 31st, we do have a $65,000 negative variance between revenue and expenses. No cause for alarm. We have absolutely no overages at the department level, which is the level at which we would have to take board action to address, and that's going to change very rapidly because the winter tax bills, which go out on December 1st, those are the ones that actually where we collect money that goes into the township coffer. So that number will change in a month. And I do want to point out, because this is something that's been very positive and successful for the township. I learned last month some cities and townships automatically in the tax year send out a second notice to people that are delinquent that didn't make it by the deadline before the next tax season bill goes out. Saugatuck Township has never done that. Doesn't matter why or whatever. We did it last month, and we brought in over $100,000 in 2 weeks from reminding people you didn't pay your bill, and the new one's coming out soon. So that was I'm happy we did that, and it's a good thing. And people are actually grateful because sometimes they lose their initial bill or didn't get it, and they don't want us turning them over to the county next March. So that's gone very well. I will point out, I think Griffin might be speaking a little bit more about this later, but last week, Allegan County has held a leadership conference, I don't know for how many years, but they've done this annually, and it's dedicated to economic development within Allegan County. And Saugatuck Township has never participated in this before until last week, and we did. Griffin and I attended it. I thought it was a terrific day. There were 80 attendees from all over the county, and they were happy to see us there. We were happy to be there because economic development is a very important issue that we hope to do more with from our board level. So that was a good thing. Thank you for going with me, and we'll be following up more with ideas. back to tax bills, sorry, but the winter tax bills will be going out on December 1st. We'll be printing them, I think, next week. We're a little bit ahead of schedule. We've had to tweak some of the millages for the schools and our own, adding in the ambulance. That goes into effect in winter, December. They're interchangeable. So that's going out. We're on schedule for that. And I didn't put a bullet on about this, but we did successfully, we had our auditors in for 3 days, 2 weeks ago. That seemed to go very smoothly. That was mostly interruptions to my life and our clerk and deputy clerk Lori's life, but it seems to go well, and we will probably invite them, the audit team, to come present to the board in January. Again, this is something that has not been done previously. We feel it's very important that they come speak to all of us and not funnel it through any other way. So I believe that is my treasurer's report. Thank you.
Thank you. Now we are coming up to the minutes. That's of the October 2, 2019 regular meeting. I hope everybody's had a chance to look at that and determine if there's any corrections that need to be made.
On the top of the third page, it says Norman Green, it should be Norma.
Okay.
I wasn't at that meeting, but I did find something also on page 3, the very last sentence. It says, Osmond, this process is not a fast one. I believe it should be, is not a fast one.
Anything else? Do I hear a motion?
I move to approve the minutes from the October 2, 2019 regular meeting as amended.
Any support?
I'll support that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye. Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carries. Moving on to correspondence. We did get some correspondence from John Darrow and Don Skipper about the ordinance that requires trunkage fees or connection fees to the city water or the Kalamazoo water and sewer. And we got a letter from Jim Searing. And we got 2 letters about our 2021 dugout road, about the finishing of that road. And we did receive a letter from Chief Janik regarding the emergency plan for access to the washout on Lake Shore Drive. We could accept those as correspondence, or we could discuss them if you're so inclined.
I'd like to comment on the letter on the connection fees, because this has been brought to my attention earlier, and I was given, there's, 4 or 5 page list of current connection fees sanctioned by the township that includes such businesses as drugstores, drive-in movie theaters, convents. I don't think we have any of all of the above. It's good to have an exhaustive list, but having studied this and read that letter and discussed this with staff, it does seem to me that this might be something we look into, and I believe that would actually be done at the board and manager level to see if our RAU connection fees, include the businesses that we now have, and I like the suggestion made in their letter about adding greenhouses, and I'm wondering if we could look at other townships to see if they have greenhouse fees, especially now in this post-medical marijuana world, and perhaps we could get some advice from the Michigan Township Association. So I don't know if we move or make a motion, but I'd like to share that idea that we do pursue investigating.
That we look into it?
Yes.
Well, you know, we move in motions and resolutions.
All right.
So if you would like to make a motion.
Then I'll make a motion I'll make a motion that we, request that staff, do everything I just said. Investigate the issue of greenhouses by one term, or even more specifically, if medical marijuana growth facilities are being charged comparable or different REU connection fees in other townships in the state of Michigan, and then perhaps advise us on a recommendation to alter or not alter our said fees.
I'll second that.
Is there any discussion? Going once? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion carried. There's something rare that we don't see on our agenda very often, nothing under unfinished business. New business, we do have first the Blue Star Trail joint resolution. Is there any questions or comments you'd like to make before you make a motion?
I have some. It's interesting in the, comments that people made that the words collaboration were used pretty often. This group of trustees, one of the platforms they ran on was collaborating with our cities to help, repair relationships. The proposal that was presented to us did not have our input, nor the input of the Friends or the fire department. And as someone has already said, that the timing of that proposal was, or the resolution, was just days before the elections in Douglas and Saugatuck, which then excludes the new, council members. It's in this spirit of collaboration that I don't support the resolution on the table. I really feel the new city leaders need to be included. And then I do have a question, or a little bit of confusion. On March 20th, one of our prior boards signed an MOU, a memo of understanding between all parties, and it was based on the collaboration for everything, which was routes, plans, money, grants, and maintenance. But then when you get beyond that, good faith assistance with maintenance, which was one of the sentences, the understanding portion indicated that each partner would be responsible for all costs related to their segment. So that's something that that I need some more clarification on. But research in our office has returned nothing that indicates that any research was conducted by the prior boards. It may have been, but we don't have any documentation of it regarding the true estimate of maintenance costs. So, in my opinion, we need to step away for a moment to gather more appropriate information. We need to collaborate on all future resolutions, MOUs, et cetera. And for me, collaboration means board and council members, friends. When I say friends, I mean friends of the bike trail, the fire department, and a couple of citizens as well. Because, you know, we're here to represent our citizens regardless of our own biases or opinions. So my recommendation, my personal recommendation would be that we table this motion, as has been suggested a few times in the public comments, until all appropriate stakeholders are at the table together collaborating on a new resolution or memo of understanding. That's all I have to say.
Okay.
For now.
I have a couple things we can go in order here. First of all, I really, really want to thank our manager, Griffin Graham, because he's done so much work, research. This is the first time in the year we've been on board that this issue's been on our agenda. Most of this work was done by the previous boards. In fact, and Griffin has helped dig that up and help enlighten us. And just so the public knows, the previous board passed 14 resolutions relative to the Blue Star Bike Trail. And some of them are very specific. There are MOUs on maintenance between the township and the city of Douglas, the township and Lake Town. And then, the support from the Allegan County Community Foundation, which I think was tied to the grant from the Michigan, the DNR's, I always forget the name. That built the portion in the township, which is not insignificant, the Natural Resources Trust Fund Board. So there's a lot of history here, and we're trying to absorb that and help move forward collaboratively. I'll say that word. I don't think we overuse it. I think we all really believe that. But back to this current resolution, I found the timing of it awkward. Brenda mentioned there was an election yesterday. There's changes in the two cities' councils. Our board had less than 2 weeks to review this draft, and because of Open Meetings Act, we haven't been able to look at it together. Griffin's been guiding us. This is our first time tonight to actually discuss the current resolution. And and another point, as great as Griffin has been, and I applaud Douglas's manager, Rich, who's here, the two of them have been on the job 5 months or less. They have no history. At least we lived in the township when all this is happening. So I just think there's more of us to uncover, to be fair to the project and to our residents. Personally, I've said this before, and I shouldn't even say it again, but I've supported the trail from the beginning, but I also have intense fiscal needs and responsibilities to fulfill. So I think when people talk about maintenance and legacy costs, that is valid. So I guess I'm kind of, I like the idea of probably tabling this, if not even rejecting it. I think they're kind of one and the same, because I think what I'd like to see is we move forward with a truly collaborative tri-community group. I know we don't need more committees, but sometimes we do. It'd be nice to see board representation and council representation from all three cities. We only had 2 people at the stakeholders meeting, and we have new people involved here. So I'm suggesting we do that with the 3 managers to truly collaboratively draft a resolution that could be voted on. And could this be done by the December 4th, the next time we meet? I don't know, perhaps. I'm willing to have a special meeting, if that would help. I know there's some deadlines involved. But I do want to stress, and I think the city knows this, but it would be really helpful to the effort to have a little more clarity on an approved, or at least the idea of a connection plan that could possibly be approved from the city between the township and the city of Douglas. Thank you, and thank you all for coming tonight.
I do want to add that I forgot to say that I do wholeheartedly support the bike trail, and I do appreciate the efforts of the managers as well.
I can go. I don't think I'm going to be as well-spoken or as articulate as you all have been. I appreciate your thoughts and agree with much of what Marcy and Helmrich have just stated. I unfortunately haven't had as much time to kind of draft my script as I've been busy with our election yesterday. That's been taking up most of my time and energy these last couple of weeks. I do, just my thoughts and feedback on what was presented from some of our audience members and what has been presented by you all, and just the documents that we've received, is I think there's a huge desire to collaborate, and it's important that all, parties be part of that planning and collaboration. I do have a desire to see this project completed. I don't think we've spent enough time and energy looking at the maintenance, what it really is. I did some preliminary research, maybe 4 different agencies or studies or whatever, and they just vary greatly. I know we met, some of us board members met with the Friends of the Blue Star Trail, some of their representatives back in October 1st, 2018, and they had suggested it was about $2,500 per mile per year. But then it says with the potential of being up to $10,000 per mile per year. That's a lot of difference, and I think that we need to be very fiscally responsible in looking at this. Our budget does not allow for, at least the way I've looked at it, it doesn't allow for $50,000 a year to be, if that was what it is, worst case scenario. So I think we do need to take some time. We have not had the time to do that. Like John stated, this is the first time it's been on our agenda since we've taken office. Let's see. All right. I think that's it for now. Thank you.
I love the bike trail. I use it almost daily, and I would like to see it connected. I know that all of us feel that it's important to complete the trail. I think we really should form a committee with a few people from each board, maybe the Parks Committee, since they've done most of the work so far too, with the managers, and I suggest we reject this resolution and start over and form a committee and really talk as a group and collaborate with the three entities, and that's the way I feel we should move forward from here.
Any other comments?
You have any?
I think it's important not to send a message to the city that says we don't want to collaborate by just outright rejecting the resolution. We don't want to send that message. And we don't want to send a message to the Friends either that say, we're not going to play in your sandbox anymore. So the idea of tabling it and creating a new resolution appeals to me because I can imagine what that would look like. That it would incorporate people from each community, elected officials, because they have to do the voting. The general public is allowed to give their input, and so our lobbyists or advocates, but they really aren't going to be voting on what's going to be happening with the trail. It really has to be the elected officials. I think that could be done relatively quickly. I mean, I've already seen a draft of such resolution. So I would support that. Doing it by committee would be fine, and I would be willing to be on that committee. So that's my comment.
So can we make a motion?
Of course.
I motion to table the resolution that's been presented to us and is on tonight's agenda. And develop a committee and move forward. I mean, we really want to move forward as fast as we can. We don't want to delay it any longer, but that can't be part of the motion tonight. So I move to table this, but set up a committee and move forward as quickly as we can.
I'll second that.
Okay, is there any discussion?
Well, I have a question just on that point. Can the resolution actually have a little more specifics on the next step, or should we do that?
You mean the motion?
The motion?
The motion.
The motion can be as specific as.
Well, that's what I thought.
Yeah, if I can make a comment and interject, it would be helpful for staff to know when you say put together a committee, are there specific board members you would like to see on that committee? Any more guidance you can provide staff on what those next steps would look like would be very helpful.
Yes, that
We're in
discussion.
some type of time crunch, correct, with December 20th, is it?
Yeah.
31st.
Year end.
Okay, that's where I feel we really need to move on this.
Well, that's
Well-
what I was gonna say.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I'm willing to, may I amend your resolution?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. include the...
So I would like to add to the resolution.
You mean the motion?
The motion.
Motion.
Why do you keep
It's okay,
saying
it's
that?
okay.
I'm thinking, well, we have a resolution on the agenda.
Yes.
All right, that's too serious. I'd like to make a motion that we table the resolution that's been presented to us with the commitment to move forward to form a committee that will include 2 of our board members to work with the other 2 cities and the Friends of the Blue Star Bike Trail towards producing a new resolution that could be brought back to the 3 city governments.
I will support. Can I do that even though,
Yep.
okay.
Yeah.
Can you do this without asking the other cities, or, I mean, is that how it works? Okay. all right.
Do you want me to go further and nominate people to be on the committee?
I think
I
we
think
should
that
say,
would be helpful because
No,
the
in
discussion,
motion.
I do that too.
the discussion
All right.
needs to occur here in the public, so.
So I suggest to further amend that resolution, said motion, excuse me, that our supervisor, Cindy Osmond, represent the township along with, if anyone wants to volunteer before I volunteer someone, Brenda
I'll
Marcy.
volunteer.
Okay, so, to represent the township,
Does that help?
along with the manager, I think I said that.
Yes, along
So I think that's enough direction.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
I'll second that again.
okay. Any more discussion? Okay, this is a motion to table, we'll do a voice vote. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All those opposed? Motion carries. Move on to the road plan.
You don't want to pay for the
The
road?
crowd leaves.
These guys sat for a few meetings.
Yeah, they need to correct them.
That's true.
Okay, we have a road plan that includes various, repairs. We're in the 4th year of the road plan. So sometimes the road plan has very accurate predictions for the needed work in the upcoming year. Sometimes when you get in the 4th and 5th year, priorities can change or conditions can change.
The weather changes.
Weather changes and roads fall in, but, we do have a proposed road plan, and we do have some comments from the subject matter experts at the road commission for some changes. I think everybody got that, the changes that, and if anybody has any questions or comments before we get started.
Once you're on the bike trail. Yeah, the bike trail thing.
What is it?
116.
Oh, we're still in the first